So here in Australia, Amazon recently touched down and launched countrywide, and being the Gen Y tech shopper that I am, I decided to check it out, order a few items and see how Amazon Australia stacked up against other retailers in the country and their own Amazon US site. So let's see how they performed. What up YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below as it will be much appreciated. Alright, so Amazon has been planning their launch in Australia for years, and it's anybody's guess as to why it's taken them so long to come here to the country, but one can only assume it's because Australia is at the bottom of the globe and is logistically quite separated from other large countries. And so you probably assume they want to make sure that they take their time and get all the pieces right for a launch. Finally, on December 2017, they launched countrywide, and after setting up a distribution center in Dandenong South in Victoria. When it launched, the national reaction was pretty much meh. It was nothing special. You only need to look up Amazon on product review to see how much that feeling is shared. Now this was due to a number of, I guess you'd say, bungles on their part, and looking back on their history, they should have known how to get it right. I mean, they've had over 20 years of experience since first launching in 1994 and later expanding to major countries, so Aussie's expectations were quite high. Now that's 20 years, if you think about it, that they've had to establish supply arrangements with major manufacturers, 20 years to develop website smarts to correct errors, 20 years to perfect shipping and carry arrangements, and 20 years to establish an amazing customer service team. But since launching in Australia though, here's a few of these bungles that Aussies have encountered. Now to start with, their first bungle was that they had a very small assortment of products. They only had the most basic of items on their website, and that would be things like USB cables, backpacks, batteries, and books, for example. And in most cases, they were predominantly Amazon's own branded products, which were pretty much the same, if not more, than the cost of buying the same item at another retailer or online store of a well-known branded product instead. And as we all know, branded products generally sell better because we've built a number of years of trust in that brand, and marketing teams have had years to market that brand to us. So there wasn't much variety and really not much reason to shop on Amazon to begin with. Alas, moving on, when they started adding more branded products to their catalogue, they failed to get the basics of e-commerce right. And when I say basics, I'm talking simple things such as categorisation. So if we look at this example, in a search for Xbox One games, a PS4 game shows. Now, there should be no reason for this sort of stuff to happen on their website, because realistically, they should have an automated measure in place for all products to be cross-referenced against their other country US sites and UK sites to pick up errors like this. It's just pure laziness on their behalf. Now, assuming categories were right to begin with, every Australian expected Amazon's pricing to be dirt cheap. And that's because buying from their US site in the past has led to cheaper pricing despite it coming from the other side of the world. So if we're buying from that same company but locally in our own country, logically one would assume that it should be the same price or even cheaper, right? Well, not so. In fact, generally speaking, products sold by Amazon have been listed around the RRP, resulting in buying via other sites or retail stores to be in fact cheaper in a lot of cases. And that leads me to a lack of third-party policing on their site. On the topic of high prices, check out these items sold by third parties on Amazon, which are grossly inflated. Amazon does little to control sellers on their own site. And to test that theory, I bought this item, which was way off the RRP. Now, as expected, the seller cancelled the sale shortly after, and when I contacted Amazon for their comment on it, they advised if you bought from Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi online and they had a pricing error on their website and you got that same comment from them, you would be up in arms. And the ACCC would be coming down on them, making sure that they have to honour that price. But while going through testing buying that item, I uncovered bungle number 5, which is the disappointment of extensive shipping times. Now, I tested their shipping by purchasing these items, all shipped and sold by Amazon. Now, living in Metro New South Wales at the time, just one state across from their distribution centre, standard shipping times from metro to metro of that distance should be 1 day at best or 2 days on average. And even Australia Post, our national postal system, provides a similar ETA to this. Well, it took a total of 12 days. That's right, basically 2 weeks to get that item shipped. Now, if we follow this, how it all happened, it started with the initial purchase on April 25. Now, any normal person would expect an online retailer to pick, pack, and dispatch the goods within a couple days. And Amazon being the huge company that it is, which is well known for fast delivery, and with them being new here, you would hope that they will be eager to please Aussies and dispatch the goods the next day. Well, I waited, and they finally shipped the goods on Friday, May 4. Now that's 9 days it took them to dispatch the goods out. I mean, seriously, no other Aussie retailer takes that long to send something. And thankfully, to Australia Post credit, it was delivered on the next Monday. So I reached out to Amazon to ask why was there such a delay, and their response? I mean, a company expanding into a new country should be on their best behavior to make sure they make a great impression. It's like going over to your girlfriend's house to meet the parents for the first time. You don't rock up an hour late, do you? And then for Amazon to respond with a vague, genetically scripted email, it doesn't inspire much confidence in me to start shopping with them again. So will Amazon die horribly in Australia despite all this? Well, there's a reason why Amazon are so successful, and these bungles in their rollout probably aren't all entirely by accident. It's still early days yet, and just yesterday I read some news that they are opening another distribution centre, but in Sydney, with this one being the size of 6 football fields. And when you look back at their expansion into the UK years ago, the initial reaction wasn't great, but now over time they've cleaned up shop and they're well established there. So who knows what will be next for Amazon Australia? Will they be able to turn this ship around, or will they join the likes of Masters, Burger King and Starbucks who tried expanding into Australia and failed? Leave a comment below on what you think is going to happen, and if you bought from Amazon, let us know if your experience was different. Until then though, let's see how the story unfolds.